Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at Oblivion Remastered. I wanted to talk through the character creation, look at all the races, all the different skills, abilities, attributes, everything, so that you can kind of decide what you want to do when you are starting the game. Now, obviously it's a new game, some things have probably changed, but the Oblivion that I remember and know, a lot of it should carry over. So if anything in this video is slightly out of sync, it's because they've changed some things within the remaster. So when you first start, you get to choose your race. Now, the best starting races kind of vary from melee to ranged to kind of magic type stuff. So typically what I remember is the best starting race for melee is over the Nord, which is strong and hardy. Nords are famous for their resistance to cold, so you'll get some resistance. They are highly talented warriors. So next to them we have orcs, which obviously typically usually are really good at melee combat, but you can also use a berserker rage. So definitely a decision for you to make if you are going to go melee. And also dark elf kind of works on a lot of different bases. So you can see elves are noted for their skilled and balanced integration of the sword, the bow, and destruction magic. So it kind of works for all the different types of roles that you can undertake. But if you want to use dark elf for also ranged and magic, you can as well. But it also does work with your melee build. So we have for kind of ranged stuff, we have an Argonian, which aren't typically like ranged based stuff, but they are decent at range, and they also have on top of that the ability to breathe underwater. You know, you got natural immunities to poisons, and picking locks they're really good at as well. So Argonian can be used here or there with varying different things, but I think I remember them being really good at ranged as well, just a typical range build. We have Khajiit, which, you know, they're intelligent, quick, and agile. They make excellent thieves, unmatched acrobatic skills, and can see in the dark. So if you're walking around all stealth like, you know, you can pull out your bow from range and just take someone out immediately. Definitely a good pick. But with the wood elf, they are supposed to be ranged to build, so wood elves are definitely going to be the way you want to go if you are making a ranged class. So you can see they're nimble and quick, good scouts and thieves, and there are no finer archers in all of Tamriel. So typically if you're going to go with ranged, this is where you want to go. So for your magic, Brayton, I never knew how to pronounce this. Brayton. They are quick and perceptive grasp of spell crafting. They boast a resistance to magical energies, skilled at summoning and healing magic. So your all-round kind of spellcaster is going to fall with the Brayton, and on top of that as well, they are also pretty much across the board one of the best beginner builds. So if you've never played the game before, Brayton is a good way to go. We have Dark Elf, which again obviously also has a lot of magic stuff, and then we have the High Elf, so exceptionally gifted in the arcane arts, resistance to illnesses, but they are vulnerable to fire, frost, and shock. So if you want to go full big magic damaging build, you know, kind of a glass cannon type thing, High Elf is the thing for you. Now there are two more here, which are Redguard, most naturally talented warriors in Tamriel. In addition to their cultural affinities for many weapon and armor styles, they also have a hardy constitution and a natural resistance to disease and poison. This is just going to be like your typical all-round type of person that you want to build around. So if you don't have a specific thing in mind, Redguard is going to be a good choice for you for just a good balanced build. And Imperial, which is they have proved to be shrewd diplomats and traders. They are skilled with heavy armor and in social classes. So this is just like a very specialized type of build. If we're talking about beginner builds and stuff right now with melee, you know, magic and ranged, Imperial is something you can look at separately, differently, because, you know, all the other things here line up better with the things you want to do. So I'm going to go with Orc because I've never really truly been a melee character in most games. I would just want to beat the hell out of people. So, you know, your body types are type 1, type 2. You can do age, young, old. You know, it's not anything spectacular. It's just a simple little building of a character. You get more to your head and stuff, which I'm not going to bother with because I'm not that fussed, but there are a lot of things here that you can change, like all the shapes and sizes and positions of chins, eyes, face, forehead, jaw, mouth, nose, everything. And you can also change the tone of things like eyes and skin as well. So if I wanted to do more red, you know, have more bruises around the sockets, eyelids, just everything here is really in depth when you are specifically working with the head itself. The body, not so much. Then you also get hair as well, which again, I'm not too fussed about, but we'll have a look very quickly at some of the hairstyles. Oh, I can have a bandana guy. I can be a bandana guy. Oh, you can even change the length. I forgot about that. What does the highest length mohawk look like? But I'm probably going to go bald because, you know, it's just getting stuck in with a nice little bald, crazy orc. So I'm currently in the game and I wanted to very quickly talk about attributes and minor skills. These kind of tie together to make your character and how you build them. First and foremost, I've just got in the game, so I haven't chose a birth sign or a class yet, which we'll talk about towards the end, because everything we're going to talk about with attributes affects your class specifically, and birth sign will help with improving your stats. So your main attributes are strength, intelligence, willpower, agility, speed, endurance, personality, and luck. Luck is something that you cannot change through your minor skills. Everything else can be done that way. So strength, for instance, affects the amount of damage you deal with longswords, claymores, maces, war axes, battle axes, war hammers, and your bare hands. Defines how much you can carry and slightly increases your maximum health. So typical strength based stuff. Intelligence is your maximum magicka, so you can cast more powerful spells. If you have obviously a limited bar, you're not going to be able to make bigger, stronger magic spells. Willpower determines how quickly you regenerate that magicka, and also greatly increases your maximum fatigue, which, you know, every time you swing or hit or do something, it uses some of your fatigue. Agility affects the amount of damage you deal with daggers, short swords, and bows. You know, that's your kind of thief slash ranged character. So the more points you have in agility, the better that's going to be for you in terms of those kinds of builds. Slightly increases your maximum fatigue and defines how quickly you regenerate that fatigue. Speed determines how fast you move. Endurance increases maximum health and defines how quickly you regenerate health out of combat. So personality, how much people like you, and you know, all your trade deals and stuff. So for me, being a melee character, endurance is good because I get more health and I get my health back quicker. You know, we have willpower, which gives me more fatigue, which means I can hit people more often. Strength is up as well, because obviously you could do damage with things like warhammers and blunt objects, which is another thing we're going to talk about in just a second. So all of these are your main attributes. Now your minor skills will level up your main attributes. For instance, if we go and have a look at blunts, right, I start with 15. Affects how much damage you deal with blunt weapons. That because I'm an orc and the things that I'm chosen, I get big boosts to blunts, hand to hand, you know, blocking, armorer. So, you know, all my kind of abilities that affect me as a melee character are all higher up, whereas something like destruction, magic, and stuff like that are lower down because I'm not going to be using magic. If I was to go in and use a blunt weapon over and over and over again, it's going to level up that little skill on the right there where it says novice, apprentice, journeyman, expert, master. The more you use something, the more it will level up. Then those will go onto your strength and level up your strength, a whole like general strength vibe. But these specific things that you actually put up will help you in very specific ways. So if you just want to like level up just your blunt weapons and put all your damage into like using a warhammer, you want to level up blunts. But multiple things affect different attributes. So for instance, blade, blunts, and hand to hand all affect how high your strength goes on the main attributes page. For something like agility, we have, I'm gonna have to find them because they're down here. So marksman is one of them. The more you use with bows, you know, the more you'll level up your agility. Security as well, I believe, and sneak. All of these will help level up your agility. Then we have something like endurance, which also is tied to like my kind of character. So block is one of them. You know, obviously the more you block, the higher your endurance will be. Heavy armor and armorer as well. All things based around, you know, keeping yourself safe, healthy, and doing big damage. So for a melee character, you want something like strength and endurance. So I want to focus on leveling up heavy armor, hand to hand, blunts, block, and armorer. Those are the things that I should be leveling up. Then you have something like personality. which is obviously making deals and trades and stuff like that. To level up stuff like that, we have like illusion, conjuration, and mysticism, I believe, are the things you want to focus on to help level up your personality. Then we have stuff like speed. You know, you want to move faster and stuff. You need like acrobatics to be put up. Where's acrobatics gone? There we go. Acrobatics, you know, affects the ability to jump higher and withstand falls. I believe there's a trick for acrobatics, by the way. There's like a hill or something nearby the main city where you start that you can keep jumping up and it will level up your acrobatics. So I'm going to have a look at that and see if that still works. You know, athletics and light armor also tie into leveling up your speed. And then something like willpower, you know, there's restoration, destruction, and alteration. Yeah, so things tied to, you know, regeneration of magic and using magic and stuff will help level up your willpower. All of these things that you level up, I think every level you get as well, you get to choose 3 specific perks that you want to level up and get extra bonus points in. But obviously we're gonna have to see if they've changed anything in the game. Your minor skills will affect your overall attributes. Right, now we're here with the Birthsigns, and these all give you kind of passive buffs towards your character just from the off. So for instance, because I'm playing an orc, I am going to choose the warrior. So that'll help me build my endurance by 10 points and my strength by 10 points, which, you know, is just all round beneficial. You have stuff for magic, so, you know, the mage obviously ties to that. The thief, obviously to do with thief, it increases your agility, luck, and speed, which is also just a really good perk in general, in my opinion, for any kind of build. Except maybe magic. So the thief is one of the better of all of them. We have the steed, which is increases your movement speed by 20 points. You don't really need this one. I don't see many people choosing this one. We have the apprentice, which isn't that great unless you want to challenge, unless you know the game. You increase your magicka by 100 points, but your susceptibility to magic is increased by 100%, which means you'll take more damage. So that's pretty much like a challenge run type thing, or if you want to do like really extreme glass cannon build, that is where you want to go. We have the shadow, which allows you to be invisible for 60 seconds per day. If you're trying to get something where you're stealing it, maybe potentially, or you want to hide. To me, not that great of a pick. We have the ritual, which, you know, you can make undead flee in horror, which is great, and you also get to restore 200 points of health per day. Nothing you can't do with, you know, you can do that with potions as well, so not particularly the best. It's like probably like top 5 maybe potentially, but other than that, you know, we have the Atronach, which is, or Atronach, I don't know how to pronounce that. Increase magicka by 150 points, 50% chance of absorbing spells cast at them, and stunted magicka regeneration is halted. So this is another type of magic build. I don't know whether I would choose this personally. I haven't used magic in Oblivion that much, but, you know, it doesn't seem that great to have the regeneration lowered. We have the tower, which is, you know, opens locks of average difficulty, can be used once per day, so, you know, you get an easy steal, and reflects 5% of all incoming damage for 120 seconds, can be used once per day. That's pretty good, you know. It's not terrible, but all in all, it's not the best of what you can choose. We have the Lord, which is increases armor rating by 15 and increases your magic resistance by 15%. That's also pretty good. We have the Lady, which increases willpower and endurance. So again, something very specific to a specific build. We have the Lover, paralyzes the target for 10 seconds and reduces the caster's fatigue by 120 points, can be used once per day. We also have the Serpent, which gives you the Serpent spell, and the wording of this doesn't feel right for me, but deal 3 points of damage for 20 seconds. It also cures poison, dispels 90 points and damage. That doesn't make no sense to me. Fatigue 100 points to the caster. There's some kind of spell there. For me, that just doesn't make sense the way they've written it, but it's going to be a very specific build. I think like the top 5 that you're going to want to go, I think the Thief is probably all round the best one to choose. We have the Lady, which again, willpower and endurance, pretty good. Then we have the Mage, which is, you know, for magic builds. Warrior, obviously, for melee builds, and then I think the other one probably the Ritual, so you can heal yourself. They're kind of like the top ones to choose. Everything else is very unique, very specific for specific builds. And now you can see that my strength has gone up to 55 and my endurance has gone up to 60. So that's maximum health. I can take more damage and obviously do more damage as well. So really good build for a melee build. Right, now that we are through the tutorial, you get to choose your class, and the classes are split between combat, magic, and stealth, and each of these will give you a different specialization, different favored attributes, different major skills, and also as well, on top of those 3 different sections, you can create your own class. So you can go in and go combat, magic, stealth, select all that stuff over on the right, and then I'm not going to get too in depth with that because that's just a whole different thing, but the basic ones that you want to choose from have to line up with what you want to do. So for me, being a melee character, choosing warrior would be really good because I get strength and endurance as my favorite attributes, or I could even go barbarian and get strength and speed. So if I was to choose warrior, I get strength and endurance. If we go over here, you can see that when you have your specialization as combat, stealth, or magic, all 7 skills of your specialization receive an initial +5 level bonus and increase more rapidly. So these major skills down there, armorer, athletics, blade, block, blunt, hand-to-hand, heavy armor, will increase more rapidly, and on top of that we'll get a +5 level bonus. We then saw earlier on that that will affect how my strength and endurance is, so your favorite attributes will also gain a +5 initial bonus. So it really is up to you what you pick and choose from, but for me, being a warrior that wants to do damage and have more health, strength and endurance, this is what I'm going to choose, because I'll get +5 to strength and endurance and then +20 level bonus to each of those major skills, and they also increase more rapidly. But it also allows you a lot of things, you know, if you wanted to do specific combat builds, like for instance here we have strength and willpower, but the major skills all change up a little bit. So if I was to do, you know, destruction magic with the crusader, that will level up quicker and get a +20 to its initial bonus growth, and then restoration is also involved in there. So, you know, we could go with the knight, which will help with speechcraft, which will allow me to, you know, increase my personality to have better trades and better conversations. So really is up to you what you choose, and it really depends on what you're going for in the game. I'm going to choose warrior though. And that's it, that's the video. I hope this helped with the character creation. If you're new to the game, there's a lot here, but it does make more intrinsic sense the more you play. It will become very clear what's happening, but typically just pick the type of style you want to play and then line up all the attributes and all the skills that will help you improve that. That's just the basic of it. Don't get overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that's in there, and enjoy the game. Thank you for watching. I've been Easy. Now you guys have been awesome.